Good morning, beautiful people. So, where do I start? I'm joining you today because I was kind of shown this message that needs to come through, and they told me, shift your perspective, shift your reality. And I've been sitting with this for probably since last night into this morning. When people speak about shifting their perspective, shifting their reality, quantum shifting, right? What do they mean? And this is an aspect to shadow work, and an aspect of integration and stepping into your light body. There are various things that go along with this, right? Like diet, behaviors, belief systems. What else? And then ultimately, like, how you think and feel about what you're doing, how you're living, your lifestyle, and stuff like that, right? So you can quantum shift by simply shifting, like taking an experience and asking the question of, what could this be teaching me? What lesson could I be learning from this experience? And you may not necessarily have a physical shift, like you may not wake up in a new space. However, you will wake up in a new space because your mental state of being will have shifted from one timeline to another timeline, or from one area of reality to another reality. And that's how simple it is to quantum shift. It isn't some spectacular thing that's out of reach, right? I feel, I guess I've been feeling, because there are a lot of people waking up or awakening, becoming aware of a lot of the truths that are within this reality, how we have been manipulated, we have been controlled, how our mental state of being has been controlled. And on top of that, right, the information that we have available to us gives us the ability to raise our vibration, to raise our consciousness, which is what we're doing when we shift our perspective on a situation. Because you will experience the same thing over and over and over and over and over again until you have the awareness, the conscious awareness, to look at it from a different perspective. And then you still may experience the same thing over and over and over again, because there's so many different aspects of this situation that you can learn and integrate within yourself, right? Sometimes it's karma, like a karmic cycle that you're dealing with. Sometimes it's how do you put this? Not necessarily karma or karmic cycles, right? But you have, because it's such a deeply ingrained belief system, you have to experience it over a course of time to break that cycle, because of how deeply ingrained it is. And something that I heard this morning, I was standing in my room with my partner, and I heard, you're rewriting human DNA. That is your sole purpose. That is your soul mission. You're living it right now. And I looked at my partner, and I was just like, and I said that to her. I was like, I've been beating myself up because I didn't think that I was living my soul purpose, or my soul mission. And it dawned on me that rewriting DNA is a soul mission, is a soul purpose. And that by changing by changing how I perceive the situation and doing things differently, and shifting my perspective on what I was doing. I started asking questions. I literally started asking questions and shift my perspective, shifted my reality, woke up in a new area. Yesterday I did something different. Currently we live with my parents-in-law, and they have their own things that they're working through, right? Because this is life and that's what it's about. And I noticed that they were having they were struggling a bit of starting organization. They have the tendency, which is something within me too, right? I have this within myself, and that's why living here has opened my mind up, because it's a reflection in 3 different areas plus myself. So if you look, it's like 4 corners to a box, right? Because I have myself, and I know my shadow, and I don't know my shadow, but I recognize my shadow. And then I have my partner, and she's a reflection of me. And then I have her mom, and she's a reflection of me. And then I have my partner's dad, and he's a reflection of me. So I'm in this box, and I have all of these reflections, and it's like I'm shadow boxing with 4 different people. However, that integration period opens your mind up, because every day I look at things around me and I'm like, okay, well, what can I learn here? What can I learn here? Well, like I said, I noticed, because reading energy, like if you're a highly conscious person, sometimes it is our responsibility to kind of jumpstart things. So I noticed that they were having a little bit of struggle starting some organization, and I recognized within myself that I was starting to have like clutter anxiety, which I wasn't aware of until just recently. And there have been times in my life where I had clutter, and it was a reflection of like the state of mind that I was in, and I wasn't aware of that then. I'm aware of that now, and I've recognized within the last 1.5 years or so that when I'm feeling a certain way, things start to look a certain way. And this is something I've been learning for a while, but it's like the same situation, you get a new perspective, and that literally, I mean that to my very deepest core part of my being. Like, ask the question, what can I learn here? Anyways, so I took it upon myself to move things around, right? To do the things that they were having a harder time doing, because they were telling themselves they were too tired, they don't have the time, other things were taking more, were more precedent in their mind. So I just, the other day, before I went and played in the Matrix, I just gathered it all up, put it in one space, out of the way, and kind of more organized, so they can, when they have the time, they can sit down and take care of it. But it's not in the common area. It's not causing everybody anxiety. I don't even think that they realize that the clutter causes anxiety. So once I did that yesterday, it set in motion for more things to be understood on various different levels, because at the end of the day, we're all a reflection of each other in different aspects, especially when you understand that we are all source, like an incarnation of source here on earth, experiencing itself in various forms. We're all interconnected. Everything is connected. It looks like there is space, but we're all connected. There's more nothingness than there is matter, so there's just all of that, right? So literally, I've said literally a lot, but that's how easy it is to shift your perspective, to shift your reality, just by simply asking questions. I feel that we get caught in this incessant thinking, and we think it's thinking, but in reality, it's what we're listening to, what we're telling ourselves, which is ultimately what we've been told, because that's all that we know until we start to ask the questions to break us out of that cycle. So when you bring your awareness into this now moment, it allows you to give your mind a break from that just nonsense that just goes and goes and goes and goes. Like you're reading a book, right? But sometimes you never stop reading that book. You just keep going because it's the story that you've been telling yourself for so long that why would you stop reading this book? It just makes sense. It's comfortable. Not realizing that you've been flipping through the same chapter over and over and over again because you haven't written anything else. The birds are out. So, yeah, we're here to write a new story. And not even a new story. We're here to bring forth the truth of the story that we've been told and rewrite it into one that is harmonious, one where we are free, where there isn't this malevolent energy trying to manipulate and control so many spirits and so many souls. And I can feel there's a release, and I've actually talked about this with a couple of my friends. There's a release coming of soul and spirit, and they're really one and the same, mind you, but they have slightly different vibratory fields. Hold on. So, what is it? The release, yeah. I guess it might be a different video, but I'm gonna put it in here anyways. Yeah. So, I had a vision or download probably about a year or two ago, and I've had the vision a couple times in different forms, but when a human dies, it releases energy, and that energy has the ability to go back to its highest vibratory field. So think about it like this. Say, I'll use my situation for instance. My mom passed away last year in November. When she passed away, I knew before she passed away that she had passed away because of a dream that I had. And it wasn't really even a dream. Like, it was one of the most realist experiences I've ever had. But my mom took me to where my granny was. She was like trapped in this house that I had a lot of negative experiences in. I experienced a lot of trauma in this house, and she was like trapped here. Literally, I saw her. It was like I was looking at her when I was a child, looking at her sitting in the same space that she used to sit in every day. And it was just her at a table smoking a cigarette in this house. Nothing else, just her. And so my mom took me there, and it was like me speaking to my granny released not only my mom, but released my granny's soul, and then allowed me to step into more of who I truly am. And that's something that I'm still kind of integrating, because I keep hearing it's really you. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. You keep saying it's really you, and I understand, yeah, it's really me. Like, and not you, like, it's like not me as this ego, right? It's me as this soul, as this spirit, as this energy. I'm trying to figure that out, but regardless, if you have any ideas, if anything pops into your mind, drop a comment below. But yeah, so there's going to be that's kind of, I've seen there's going to be some death and some destruction potentially happening. It was a hummingbird. But say it went back. So awesome. But it's going to be that death and that destruction is going to be releasing a lot of energy and a lot of souls and a lot of spirits. So yeah, don't be afraid. Take a deep breath and step into it. But that's I think all I have for you guys. So yeah, infinite love, infinite light, and infinite movement, my friends. Namaste.